Hello and welcome to the channel. If you are new around here, be sure to subscribe for daily FM content, whether that's tactics, gameplay or other things. Be sure to comment what you'd like to see. Link in the description below to my current series where you can see the tactic in action, and also a link to all my socials. Enjoy the video and be sure to like and subscribe. Hello and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new around here. New series we've got coming up, it's called If I Were in Charge. First episode we've got Arsenal, going through alphabetical order, all the Premier League clubs for 2019-20 season. Hopefully West Ham are in the next year, for next year's FM21's version of this. But we've got a couple of tactics coming up today of what I would do if I was in charge of Arsenal. When I'm streaming, a lot of people are asking, oh, I'm this save, I'm this team, what should I do, what can I do? So I thought it'd be best to go through a series of each individual team, maybe some foreign teams after we've done with the Premier League. But so far, we're going to go through the Premier League teams. We're starting off with Arsenal. So the first tactic we've got is a 4-2-3-1. It's a bit more defensive minded in terms of comparison to the second tactic that we've got. We have Leno in goal. I would probably use him over Martinez. Martinez is still pretty average, and maybe go for maybe buy a young goalkeeper in the summer if you can to have backup for Leno. I'd have Bellerin at right back. He's currently injured, and as is Tierney, so you may have to get a couple of loan fullbacks or just replace him simply with Kolasinac and maybe make them Niles. But I'd put them on fullback support. Don't want to get too overlapped. We'll show you why in a second. Got David Luiz and Socrates at centre-back. Probably David Luiz as a ball player, just because his passing and vision is capable of doing that in the Premier League. It's not the best, but it's better than having him not on the ball compared to in real life. Ceballos, I would have as a deep line playmaker. The reason behind that is he can't tackle. However, he can sit deep and he has good work rates. So I'd use him to give the ball to Ozil, to allow Ozil to do the final ball. So pretty much Ceballos is the link between the defence and the attack, as well as Guendouzi, who's a box-to-box, good work rate, good teamwork, good passing, good tackling, decent dribbling, and good physicals. He's pretty much the perfect box-to-box, and he's 20 years old, so can develop quite a bit in this save. Plus he's a wonder kid, plus good determination. He's pretty much the perfect centre mid to have as box-to-box. We use him differently in the other tactic, but we'll show you that in a second. Nicolas Pepe, very, very good this year. Great pace, great acceleration, great dribbling. Have him inside forward attack, 1-on-1 with the fullback. Pretty much cuts inside and shoots almost every time. You can do individual tactics by going on the player section up here in the left. But I would probably prefer to leave him on default inside forward attack and let him do what he does best. Mesut Ozil, AP support. You could, if you wanted to, if you didn't like Ozil, drop to Ozil, put Ceballos forwards and play somebody else in centre mid like Torreira. But I think you can't really drop Ozil. 19 first touch, 19 technique, 18 passing, 19 vision. He's pretty much one of the best playmakers on the game. And him next to Pepe and Nelson and Aubameyang probably does give you a lot of goals due to their pace. Nelson's looking good this year. 19 years old, homegrown English. You could loan him out for a year if you wanted to and play Lacazette up front with Aubameyang out wide. But I think that's kind of wasting one of the best strikers in Aubameyang, who is advanced forward up front. I think he's got 19 acceleration, 18 pace, 30 years old. He's still got a few years left in him, maybe try and bring through a young striker as you're playing Aubameyang. But with 17 finishing and good pace, with the current tactics of working it into the box, he could get on the fair end a fair few chances. Higher tempo, shorter passing, keep it nice and quick in the midfield. Transition-wise, always distribute to defenders. I hate giving the ball away from goal kicks where my goalkeeper will boot it up to a striker who's not a target man or who can't hold the ball up. So I'd always distribute to centre-backs or full-backs. If your full-backs or centre-backs aren't good at passing, pick just full-backs or pick just centre-backs. But I'd always have them on, in my opinion. And maybe turn off distribute quickly if you want to control the game a bit more and not be a bit sloppy. I mean, the players in this are good enough technically to be able to have the ball quickly and not lose it. Always counter-press and counter, just because I feel that's the best sort of method on this game this year, to counter-attack and to press as much as you can. I've put a higher defensive line just because our pace of our fullbacks is good enough to cover our defenders if they are caught out in defence. I mean, even David Luiz is not slow, and I think Socrates isn't slow either. 17 pace, so a quick defence to allow a higher line. I wouldn't go too crazy on the press. I would keep it on slightly more urgent. Even though the work rates are good, I feel like even during this game, even if you have 20 work rates everywhere, the more you press, the more likely you get to get caught out in defence. So that's our first tactic done. On to the second tactic. It's pretty much the same variation, however, it's a bit more offensive. Rather than fullback support, we've gone for fullback attack. Personally, I prefer this one to the first one. But if you want to be a bit more cautious, maybe in Europa League or Champions League or a big game versus Man City, maybe go for the first tactic. But the second tactic, fullback attack, is definitely by far my favourite defensive role. We've got a Mazzala in Ceballos. This is a bit more creative than a deep line playmaker. He sort of moves around rather than just sat there passing the ball. He can do a Mazzala role pretty well. He can't tackle, but 10's not too bad for a Mazzala. If you're in double figures, he's still quite young. He can get to 11 or 12 if you buy him from Real Madrid. I think they have an option to buy, possibly, maybe not. But he shouldn't become too expensive if you can buy him, if he does well for you. I'd have Guendouzi as a ball winner, just because with the fullback attacks bombing up and your Mazzala going off anywhere he likes, the ball winner sits there and always has a free at the back. So even if your fullbacks are going forwards, you're not left short with two players. You've always got Guendouzi to sweep up, who has got, like I say, 15 tackling, decent anticipation for 20-year-old, 14 anticipation, good bravery, decent determination. Off the ball is good as well. Positioning's good, so he can sort of sit there and sweep up for you. Pepe stays the same. I've said about him already. Inside forward attack, he'll score you double figures of goals I see every season. Mesut Ozil AP support. I would be tempted to drop him maybe back a little bit and do this, where you put Guendouzi as a ball winner in the central midfield and have Mesut Ozil as the AP in the centre mid, just because it works quite well. But I feel like to stick with a 4-2-3-1, we're going to stick Mesut Ozil there as AP attack. Could go for AP support. It depends how you want to play. Reece Nelson stays as a winger. Aubameyang stays as a striker, but the main changes for the front four are in these tactics here. I've gone for a fairly narrow. It squashes the defenders in, allows your wingers to have so much space out wide that you can get either crosses in or they can have space to run at defence directly. Pass into space, if you have someone like Ozil with a quick player up front like Aubameyang, there'll be so much room in behind. You'll score about 30 goals a season with Aubameyang. Generally about 20-30 goals a season. Haven't tried too long for this tactic, but it does work quite well. Shorter passing, you may think that they contradict each other, passing to space and shorter passing, but regardless this year, if you have sort of medium or short passing, the balls over the top still happen. Higher tempo, because like I say, the work rates are good. Ceballos 15, Guendouzi 17. Even the wingers have decent work rate for a winger role, 14 and 12 there. Ozil's work rate, APs aren't too important. If you can get a better work rate in the future, then definitely. He's 30 years old, so a few years left. But maybe try and go for a youngster behind him to get some good work rate. And Aubameyang, 14 work rate there as well. Fullbacks, 15 work rate there. Centre-back work rates aren't too important, but even having them as 14 plus is still pretty good. In terms of transition, count exactly the same as the last tactic. Distribute quickly. Maybe turn that off if you want to slide down slightly. Always fullbacks and centre-backs, like I say. And I've gone for a higher line here because, like I say, the work rates. If you haven't got work rate, then you'll do a Mark Noble-esque and run your centre-mid up the pitch. He'll be left out. He won't come back, and there'll be a 4-on-1 in the midfield there. So I stick with that as a higher line. Like I say, if your work rates gradually go down or you buy some new players, drop it to standard. Won't make too much of a difference, I don't think. But yeah, there are two main tactics. Now on with some transfer recommendations. So on with the transfers. We've got a couple of recommendations here. Now, I've always thought with our Arsenal and FM, you've got some good first-team players, but they lack a bit of youngster experience down the middle of the pitch. Now, Lacazette is 28. Aubameyang is 30. Behind that, you haven't really got a striker, a natural striker, that is sort of young or even there in the first place. Martinelli I'd use more as a winger. So I'd possibly go for someone like Esposito up front, maybe a Pellegrini from Monaco if you can get them. They're pretty good players this year. Price, obviously you guys will have your favourite players who you can bring in, but I would recommend a young striker as a third choice, maybe loan him out for a year. See what happens, but I would definitely recommend a young striker. I'd also recommend a young AMC as well, possibly Thiago Almada. He's a very standard FM wonder kid to buy. However, once again, Ozil's 30. Maybe even make Ceballos permanent, but you're playing him at centre mid rather than AM. So possibly looking for another youngster there. In terms of centre-backs, you have got Callum Chambers and Rob Holding. They're 23-24. Rob Holding does become a very good ball-playing centre-back. However, when Socrates is 31, David Luiz is 33, possibly 32, and Mustafi is 27 and also Mustafi, I'd look for maybe bringing in another young centre-back there, just to have competition for places. I'd definitely loan him out for the first year or two because you have got 5 quality centre-backs already. But I'd definitely look for a 5th/6th choice loan centre-back to get some experience and to get some youngsters there as well. Fullbacks I think you're fine with for a few years. You've got Bellerin and also got Maitland-Niles. If you want Maitland-Niles to be a centre mid, then buy a right back by all means. But I think you're okay there for a couple of years. Left back, Tierney and Kolasinac, once again, they're good enough for a good few years as well. Goalkeeping situation, Leno is for 27, Martinez is 26. Now, in my eyes, they're fine. But if you want a wonder-kid goalkeeper to replace Leno in 3 years, by all means, spend your leftover cash to get a very, very nice wonder-kid goalkeeper. And finally, in terms of club recommendations, or club vision, shall we say, Premier League expected to finish top 6, qualify for Europa League. The Emirates FA Cup with the semi-final. Now, that shouldn't be too hard. It depends if you get a Man U or a Man City or a Liverpool early on the draw. I think definitely with cups, it's not luck-based, but if you don't get a tough run until the semi-finals, that's a pretty easy goal to reach. The Europa League final minimum, once again, should be quite easy unless you get some knocked-out Champions League sides like a Juventus somehow get there or something big like that. That could hinder you, but I feel like final is probably realistic for the squad that you've got. For Arsenal, balancing 3 competitions first and second year should not be too hard. And the Carabao Cup, most big clubs don't care about the Carabao at all. So either play some youngsters, get an early trophy, or just bottle it completely and don't even try. But that is pretty much it for what this first episode is, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe if you did. And I'll see you on episode 2 when we go through Aston Villa, a relegation battle, completely different side of the table to Arsenal. So let's see how we do there. See you later, guys.